Hey everybody, it's Rolly, and I am coming to you with another one of our amazing speakers. So, Erin Esser is actually going to be sharing Mastering Your Emotions during our conference of coming up on March 6th to the 7th. So, it's a full weekend of lots of filled information. We have women from all over the world, including Erin, who is coming to us from the US. And so, super excited to have you, Erin. So, how are you doing?
Thank you, Rolly. Yeah, it's really great to be here. Doing good. Yeah, doing great. I'm excited for this coming up here in the next, 3, 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's not very much longer.
No.
Last weekend we had 4 weeks left, so we're down to 3 weeks
Yeah.
because I was participating in another virtual retreat, and that's one of the things when I looked up at the calendar, went, oh my gosh, we only have 4 more weeks till our conference. So which is amazing. So this is our fourth annual. So super excited to be able to open this up globally. So that is one of the things that's really exciting is we've always had this in person. And so this year is being able to do this globally with women coming to us from all over the world. And so it's pretty incredible. So one of the topics that you have is that mastering emotion. So, how fitting is that with our theme of self love? I am enough, you are enough. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So over my life, it's one of the things that I've had to really do and is really understand my emotions. And I work a lot with human design also. And when I understood that I was emotionally defined, it was a huge weight off of my shoulders. I was like, oh, nothing is wrong with me. Because let's face it, we live in a world where emotions, and especially big emotions, are not welcomed and they're often shamed. And so when we can start to understand that they're part of who we are and they're messages for us, that we can start to bring in more self-awareness and understand ourselves, to know ourselves in a deeper way than what we have before. So, and it all goes in with loving ourselves. So part of loving ourselves is understanding all of the parts of ourselves and our emotions, especially as women. Wow. It's, we're told so many things. We're conditioned so much, right? Be a good little girl and, don't be angry, anger and rage, all of these emotions that actually really spur so much creativity and bring us so much awareness in our values and who we are have been repressed. So when we start to really tune into these emotions and these parts of ourselves that have been fragmented over time, we start to bring in, just a whole new level of understanding and compassion for who we are.
And it really does. Like, and one of the things that I really like what it is that you said is that we're conditioned as women, right? So I often get that whole like, why do you always focus on women? Why do you always focus on women? And because despite the fact that we have moved through so many, we've come a long way in terms of women and women's rights and all those kinds of things, but there's still a lot of suppression, right? So good girls don't cry, right? So,
Mhm.
or good girls don't talk about, don't use that kind of language. So
Sure.
bad girls do, like, so then I'm a bad person because I've chosen a certain language or I've chosen a specific emotion.
Yeah.
And so you get that a lot in terms of those kinds of things. So that is like hitting the nail right on the head.
Well, and it's true for men too. It's, boys don't cry. Also, little boys don't cry. And so I don't think any one of us is immune to the conditioning that's out there, whether we're male or female. It's just that I'm a female. And so I work with, mostly women. And so I understand from a woman's perspective what it's like. There's so many levels of conditioning out there in the world today. And so it's about really disrupting those patterns, disrupting the idea of the shoulds, of what we should be like and how we should be if we have this label. It's like, no, we're here to bust that open and say, no, deep down underneath all of these things, I'm a soul, I'm a human being. And what is that like? And what does it mean to be human? This is a human experience of experiencing all of it, allowing everything to come through us so that we can understand who we are.
And one of the things that you mentioned was human design. I'm fascinated by human design. I do more of the astrological aspects of how things, but they tie in together. And I've had my human design chart, and I've had somebody interpret my chart for me. And so I have that solar plexus, kind of response, right? So, so can you talk a little bit more about what that means? Like, kind of like in a nutshell, for people that are like, human design, what do you mean?
Oh yeah, I love human design. I'm teaching a class right now on going through the centers. We have 9 different centers, and when we understand it's, our own blueprint, and we understand our manual, our life manual, so to speak, we can show up for ourselves in a different way. We can understand all the ways that we've been conditioned, and especially with the solar plexus, which is our emotional center. 50% of people are defined there, and which means we have these emotional waves. I used to think there was something inherently wrong with me growing up. I thought for so long that, oh my gosh, I would get in these highs and then I would feel these lows. It was like high highs and low lows. And I thought, if I went in right now to a medical professional, they'd classify me and they'd put a label on me as being something, some sort of mental, some mental label diagnosis. But I knew that there was something more to it than that. And so I never did that. And when I understood that about myself, I thought, oh, now I can accept this part of myself and work with it rather than resist it and think something is wrong with me. And that has made all the difference in the world. So that's half of the people out there, half of the population. But the other half, being even undefined, emotionally, means they're taking in all of these emotions and thinking that it's theirs. They think that all of these big emotions, and they actually feel it sometimes bigger than an emotionally defined person. So you have, 100% of the people out there that have no idea how to navigate emotions. Is it mine? Is it not mine? How do I work through this? How do I navigate my emotional waves? And how can I understand and get the most out of it? Because it's a beautiful process, and it's where the world is heading to. Up until 2027, there's a mutation happening. So we have to understand this part of ourselves. And I'm very passionate about it because it's been a huge part of my own growth journey, and also bringing awareness and helping other people do the same thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting how things have actually really evolved, right? So, like, there's a lot more of that awareness. There's a lot more of those interconnectedness to how everything is all kind of connected. And I've heard that before about that everything coming up in 2027. So it'll be really interesting to see how. Because I do enjoy that part of the process and have that. So I'm really interested to see how all that's going to kind of come to play come that 2027.
Yeah, we're already seeing it, so this is a whole process, from now through then and even after then. And so it's really about understanding ourselves. And the more we can understand how we are designed and to love ourselves and give ourselves full acceptance, we can do the same then for other people too.
So, and one of the things that with the conference that I think that it's always important to be able to share for people that are not aware of how we're doing this, because a lot of times you attend a conference or you're attending a workshop and it's somebody talking at you, and so yeah, we're still going to have our presenters talking, and some of them are interactive, some of them are depending on what it is that they're offering, but we also have that opportunity of being able to have like this genuine conversation where we're actually going to be able to go into different chats and having these conversations of being able to connect with ourselves in each other into these different rooms where we can actually talk more in depth about potentially human design or potentially whatever else, right? Specifically about mastering those emotions, like whatever it is, we're going to have like these different breakout rooms that will allow us to be able to have those conversations and meet up with other people and have those connections. So I'm super excited about how technology has shifted to allow us to be able to have these opportunities, right? So
oh, I love it. That's the thing. It's there's always a silver lining in everything. And, there's a lot of, I don't have to, this last year has been, shaking for the world. And with it, there's been some beautiful things that have come out of it as well too. And I feel that when, there's places that are able to have, in-person events again, it would be nice to be able to have a hybrid, to still have hybrid types of events, because we can really bring in people from all over then, and really expand the messages that we want to bring forth and the movements that are in our hearts and in our bellies, and that fire that keeps us moving.
Well, and that's the plan for next year, right? So this year is, and not by choice, is an entirely virtual, but with the fifth year. So, and that was already the plan in terms of being able to bring the fifth plan. But this year, and again, it's that silver lining, right? So this year we actually get to make sure that all of the everything gets to line up together, seeing how all that together, and then we'll have that experience of the virtual, because we've already had 3 years of the in-persons, which has evolved since year one. But year 5, that was like in celebration to our 5th anniversary, was going to be a hybrid event. So like, this is just perfect in terms of being able to plan it this way, right? So
it's practice. Yeah. By next year, you'll be like bringing the 2 components in and we'll have it mastered.
Yeah, so it's great. And I've been able to pair up with some amazing speakers like you that are able to bring their own perspective and their own take. And so, and like I said, having people from Australia and the UK and all across Canada and all across the US, it's like incredible of being able to have those different experiences. And so I'm loving this experience, as stressful sometimes as it can be when we're trying something new, but it really is. Like, I've been doing virtual stuff for the last 5 years. So like, that part there is not foreign to me, but it's like that whole pulling it all together. But that's why we have a tech person who's going to be looking after all of those parts, right? So
absolutely
able to do that. So so is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or that you wanted to share, that you thought was important?
I think that just, in the time that we're in right now too, in the world, I feel, we're talking about silver lining, and even with our emotions, sometimes it can be so easy to get locked in and feel stuck in one emotion or a few different emotions, especially right now in the US, where we're in winter, and some places it's the heavy time of winter. So it's gray and it's dark and it doesn't look very promising outside. And especially in the places that are still on maybe heavy lockdown and whatnot. And I guess a question that I love to ask myself when I'm feeling in this way, and when I know my clients are too, is what else is possible? What else is possible in this that I never could even imagine? And as I was talking with a client earlier today, I said, even just that question will allow us to expand our thinking, because the quality of our life is really about the quality of questions that we ask ourselves and the company that we keep. And that's what I tell my kids, and the company that we keep. And so the questions will either expand us and open new doors. And so even just a question like that, we can look around in a room that maybe, seems like there's no hope, there's no door to another possibility, but just a question like that of what else is possible that I never even imagined can allow us to see the door frame, and then can allow us to see the handle and say, oh my gosh, I wonder if I put my hand on that door handle and I just turned it and peeked outside, I wonder what else is there for me that I never even thought before.
And that's one of the things that is like super cool, right? So like, being able to have, and like with my experiences with the conferences that we've had, and this is feedback from the last 3 years, is that yes, we learn something from the speakers, but we also learn something from the other guests, right? So when there's sharing and there's communicating and there's talking and being able to, and one of the things that I really like that you said is that it's about the company that we keep, right? So I have made friendships with women who have been part of the conference. I know other women who've actually made friendships with other women that have been part of the other conferences. And it's incredible to see how, even though there's a distance, there's still a strong connection in terms of those interactions. And so like, those are the doors opening. So I love that. I love that that analogy, because we forget, right? So a lot of times we know, and we've experienced, we've all gone through different things in our lives, and we know that there's always another door. There's always something, even when we're in our most when we're in the most deepest of our despair, depending on what our circumstances are, is that we know that we don't stay there, that we actually eventually get to pull ourselves out of there with all the experiences that we've had. So it's great. And so one of the things that I wanted to be able to share, this is the first that we actually make the announcement, is that today at 2:22 p.m. Eastern Time is that we are having a flash sale for the conference. And so in that whole, because February is all about love, right? So it's that whole love month. And so, but it's about that self-love and being able to give back to ourselves. And so if you have a partner who wants to be able to share, purchase, and or if you have that you want to be able to give to yourself, the price is dropping to 222 Canadian until Monday at 2:22. So starting today at 2:22 until Monday at 2:20, or Monday at 2:22. So we just thought that it would be really nice to be able to have that opening of really making sure that we can give back to ourselves, because as I was sharing with Erin before we actually went on, is that our region is still on lockdown, and so we have not been able to do anything normal since December 26th is when we've been on lockdown. So it's been a long, and we are in that northern part of Ontario. And so we are with those darker days, with the colder days, with the longer days. Even though the days are starting to get brighter, we're still in that period of a lot of that darkness. Yeah. And so to be able to brighten things up and to give ourselves a little bit of love is that we have decided to do this this feature of this flash sale. And for anyone who is already registered, if somebody's like, oh my God, seriously, I already paid, there is going to be a bonus added for having started early. And so we will make those announcements during the conference, what those special things for you are. But so don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. We definitely appreciate you having had signed up early, but that's definitely one of the things that is really exciting. So I'm super excited to have been able to share that with you, Erin.
I know, it's exciting. I love how, is what a great time too with Valentine's Day and being able to drop the price, and a great way to love yourself, that's a question too. We can ask, how can I love myself even more today? Or what would it look like if I just took a little time out to love myself? And maybe it's a ticket to this conference and spending a few days hearing from other women who have been through the trenches, who have understood where you're at. The only reason why I talk about emotions is because there's times that, I have felt like I have met the bottom of, the barrel. And so, we understand it's getting with like-minded people who have, know these tools and understand to give us hope that, yes, there is a brighter day coming tomorrow. Maybe it's the next day, but it'll be there. So don't give up.
And it really is. And so I want to thank you for sharing your time with us today, Erin, and giving everybody an opportunity, a sneak peek to be able to actually meet you. So this has been great. And so again, I am actually going to be on a few times today to be able to share, to be able to connect with other speakers, and again tomorrow and over the course of the next few days. But so stay tuned as we get some more sneak peeks at all the incredible women that we have that are joining us from all over. So thanks again, Erin, and have a fabulous day, everyone.
Yeah.